Hello and welcome to Smiley's. Tonight we'll be discussing Book 3 of Novels of the Mountain Empire, which is Stonewielder by Esslemont. I am joined by Mora. Hello, Mora.
Hi, Lee. How are you?
So, how are you doing today? I'm very good, mostly.
So, spoilers are limited to midpoint of Stonewielder. Would that be right?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to be spoiling anything from the main then?
I don't think it's necessary.
Not really, yeah.
Good. So, as per usual, I'm actually rereading this time. This is a reread for me. I did not reread Return of the Crimson Guard, but I am rereading this book. I'm chapter 5, which is mostly what we're gonna discuss up to chapter 5. Mora has read up to chapter 7, I think. So Mora might discuss a few things from there. If you're up to that point, then spoiler warning. Mora has not read these books before, and I think she has many more thoughts than I do about the book.
I mean, it's a great book. Did you not like it?
I mean, I read it right after Told the Hounds the first time around, so I was a bit fatigued and awestruck. I did like it.
No.
It's definitely tighter than Return of the Crimson Guard. It doesn't bounce around as much. It does still bounce around, but less so.
I mean, I think Return trains us, no? To follow 30 different storylines. Here there are hardly 12, 15.
So far, do you have any specific favorite storyline?
Favorite storyline?
Yes.
I don't know, because... okay, can we just tell me all the names? How do you say all these names? Because I don't think we are going to have the same things here. And I've not heard,
Okay.
I've not seen any of the interviews or anything.
I don't either. Well, I may have, but I don't remember. So, what names exactly?
The newer ones, see.
Yes.
Oh, what's the ancestor called?
I call him Bakun.
You call Bakun, okay. Sometimes I think of him as Bakune or Bakun. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I think I pronounced it Bakune the first time around, but it just sounded wrong this time. I don't know.
But anyway, he's one of my favorite characters now. Him and Lord Protector Hiem. Do we say Hiem?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Stimmin.
Yes.
And what's the wall marshal called?
Quinn.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I actually forgot that. Oh, and
Yeah.
all these other the newer Malazans we have here. Kerry, Goss, Urfa. It sounds like I'm just gargling, right? It doesn't sound like names.
I mean, I think that's kind of the point of these Marines, right? That they don't have, they haven't earned proper nicknames. Like, there are guys called Dim and Lard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sooth is just all, the guy took his name and then cut it off on the first syllable, just hey, that's your name now. And, I mean, it's very clearly not a Braven name,
Yeah. But then Lard and Dim sounds a lot like, something Braventooth would have named them.
Yeah, that's true.
This is Ipshank, Manask.
Yep.
So, I think that's it, right? We have most of the names here.
So that's a pronunciation guide for
Yeah.
anyone who's curious.
The official one, yeah.
Yeah, now we can get into it. So,
Yeah, right. So, my favorite
you
storyline.
said one of your favorite. Yeah, cool.
Actually, I think all the things happening with the Crimson Guard, because, you know what? This is going to be confusing. So, don't ask me the storyline because they're all depending on the last two chapters. This chapter 6 and 7 have changed a lot, but up to chapter 5, I think my favorite storyline is obviously the actual invasion, the breaking of the Murray's blockade. I think that was really amazing to read. What was yours?
So I'm fresh from reading Midnight Tides,
Yeah.
and I really like bars for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I also read the books, and I know what basically happens with bars, and I think, in general, bars is probably top 3 in my favorite Crimson Guardsman. He's very interesting. It's very interesting to see him because in Midnight Tides, he's all upbeat, a bit
Yeah.
he eternally optimistic. He cracks witty.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. He's like, oh, there's a Zath house, a garden fate, and stuff like that. It's just and now he's depressed as hell and looks like, mangly hair, unwashed hair. He throws jugs at people that come into his room.
Yeah.
He threatens Corla, all of that, and it's so raw, this poor guy. Look at it. It's, I think, one of the best ways, from a narrative perspective, to introduce the effects of the Stormwall on people. Because here you have this guy who's an avowed, and he can't die, right? Well, he thinks he can't die anyway. Corla seems to believe he can die, and his will is virtually broken because Skinner betrayed him.
Yeah.
Right? He was captured. He didn't actually get to go to the battle like he wanted to. He was captured, And now after like, I don't know, a month, 2 months, 3 months, a season, tops, standing on the wall, he's like this.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the people who actually stand on the wall voluntarily, the clearly chosen, must be, crazy.
Yeah.
Kyle and Greymane are interesting. Relish is actually very nice. I think Relish and Devileth make for a great duo together.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
But from this book, well, I like Shell and the blues and all of that, but that comes to play later, like you said.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because that was really nice. All the sea folk stuff, So.
And I think Kiska and Jheval are really good too, but their storyline also continues in this book more.
So, but by the way you're telling, I'm going to assume that, Iron Boss is not making it, right?
I'm not going to spoil anything.
I bet that probably Greymane is not coming out of this book. It's named after him, so I don't see him surviving this. I know because you're naming Iron Boss, so I'm going to assume Iron Boss is dying. And Relish and Talia have too happy of a life, so one of them is dying. Right. So these are my death predictions at 50%. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
I mean, it's better to be prepared. I'll be happily...
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. I would rather over-predict,
Right.
So, one thing I wanted to note down. You read all these books mixed up with...
Yes.
Yeah, so this was after Toll the Hounds.
Yeah.
Right. No, because I'm just seeing that, it has such a nice continuity after Return. It just picks up right there. So, I don't know. It might spoil the flow of these books to mix them with,
It does. The argument works both ways. I think it works better to reread. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It has narrative continuity with Toll the Hounds as well. It also ties into Dust of Dreams for reasons I can't elaborate on.
No, it's just that this is a nice series by itself, right? You don't really need to
absolutely
add it to the Book of the Fallen.
I still believe that anyone who says the series is bad because it's not like the Book of the Fallen should just go reread the Book of the Fallen again, because just go read the damn book. It's right there.
Yeah, I think let's just make that your catchphrase.
Just read the series alone. So I'm not gonna bother you too much with this. So you said your favorite storyline so far is Invasion. I want to point out that the Chapter 5 naval battle is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay, alright. All the different aspects of it, have the setup of like, okay, we're going to Corel. No, we're not going to fucking Corel. No one's come out of Corel. There's no way to break the blockade.
Yeah.
And then you have the sparring with the Moranth on their ship, and they select a few squads that are going to basically move on. And then my favorite bit is Relish, who just like Devil tells him, well, our ships can't sink, and he's just like, okay, I'm just gonna capture them then.
Yeah, that is so good. I know. And then they say this has become too overcrowded, and then he gets another ship.
And
sorry, I keep interrupting you because...
Him bantering with the captain, the Seven Cities captain, is absolutely amazing. Don't tell me how to do my job.
Yeah.
Landlubber, but Seven Cities is a lizard, and so on. And then it's like, okay, call them, everyone drops down on the deck. Relish tells the captain to call them forward because they're on the Marie ship.
Yeah.
And then just he starts shouting obscenities, and the guy translates for him. It's great. This is the shit I live for. This is what I want from Malazan. Soldier banter and stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
And then you also have the Moranth, who, unlike the Malazans, don't have much problem with using munitions at will. And I will say, after 10 books of the Book of the Fallen and 3 books of the Annals of the London Empire, which basically every book has munitions some way or another. Well, that doesn't. You tend to get a bit desensitized to what these actually look like, but I think Devileth's reaction really sells this, that okay, these guys are going down terribly. Nock actually counters this and says, dead is dead. It doesn't matter if they drown or burn to death from munitions or explode. Which, but also, these are really fucked up things, This is brutal. This is not war in the traditional way.
That scene, right, where they start pouring liquid fire, it didn't feel like the actual munitions, like sharpers or cussers or something. I thought they had something else, right? I don't know. I keep thinking of that thing in Game of Thrones where they have this green thing which catches on fire and all.
In general, it is said that the Moranth supplied the Malazans with lower tier chemicals, and they kept their primary stuff for themselves.
Yeah.
So what you see the Moranth use is the premium stuff, the really dangerous and really deadly stuff, which is why it's so
Didn't
brutal.
we go down this rabbit hole sometime back? Or was it called Greek fire or something?
Yes.
Right. So, okay.
It burned on water, and they used it on pots and stuff. And well, sometimes it would ignite their own ships, which was bad. But other times it became the stuff of legend because it would not go out when put on water.
Yeah.
Anyway, awesome naval battle, absolutely wonderful.
I know. Yeah.
And in case you didn't actually like that, there's also the storm wall, which is amazing. Like the atmosphere of the storm wall is absolutely great.
Yeah.
I already said about bars, but you have Corlo, who feels... Well, do you want to talk about Corlo? I think you want to talk about Corlo, because I remember you were not particularly impressed with this.
With exactly what? No.
With Corlo being guilty about what he did.
Yeah, the thing is, see, Corlo sees Halfback roaming around, right? So he knows...
not roaming around, he's been escorted by two soldiers to the storm wall.
Fine. He was being escorted down the stairs with some 5 guards surrounding him. Do you want all the details? So
carry on. He
sees Halfback going somewhere, and he thinks that, okay, maybe not all of them are dead yet. So to give hope to Bars, that whole scene was really nice. The way he calls him like Commander, Blade Commander, and all that, and then he raises his fingers and says seven of the blade, and Bars immediately perks up and starts fighting the riders. So I thought that was really nice. I didn't read it the way you read that. He just straight up lied to him. I think he gave him some hope, not like lying for the sake of it, isn't it? Because he actually stops sometime back, like immediately after seeing Halfback, he sees Bars and he decides that he'll wait for him to fall further into despair before telling him about Halfback being alive or the rest of the fate of the rest of the people. So what I felt was he was just giving him hope to Bars, regardless of how Bars might feel about it. But yeah, I don't know. He did not feel that guilty, I thought.
Well, I mean, he did say, for one, Bars basically looked at Corlo after he said that and then pointed the sword at him. And Corlo took that to mean, okay, if I don't die to the storm wall, I'm going to die to my commander later. That's one thing. The other thing is, Bars, from his basically first introduction in this book, I don't remember if you remember the scene. It's basically Corlo opens the door.
Yeah.
There's a woman on the floor
crying,
sitting like skirtled, crying.
Yeah.
Bars is drunk out of his mind, throwing jugs at him. His hair looks a mess, and he just complains about not being able to die. Okay, Bars is a mess. He's a right mess.
So what Corlo did was fine,
The thing is, the question not at Corlo is why did he do it? Does he actually want Bars to continue fighting despite his wishes? Or does he just want to save his own skin? Because like Aurelio told him that if Bars doesn't fight, we're gonna kill you all.
I thought that Corlo was trying to save Bars more than anyone else. To save Bars from falling. He waited till he despaired enough to save him. Right? I don't think it was that selfish of Corlo.
Well, let's view it another way. Corlo has only seen Halfback.
Yeah, that's true.
And he said 7 of the blade. He knows that at least 2, himself and Bars, are alive. He doesn't know anything about Halfback, he saw him once, and he doesn't know the fate of anyone else. So, in the best scenario, everyone's alive, and it's technically the truth, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, it doesn't matter what we think, it mostly matters what Corlo thinks, and Corlo feels immense guilt about this.
Yeah,
so,
he does, yeah.
That's that.
True.
And that's one way to view the Stonewall. The other one is, you mentioned earlier Hiam and Quint and Stimmins.
Stimmins, yeah. And you like to call Stimmins as Kurukwan Light?
He's amazing.
Yeah, he is, yeah. So, this storm wall, which has stood, some 4,000 years?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's finally showing some signs of wear and tear. So the rocks are sort of exploding in half, and there are huge cracks in between, right? So, and I think that's what Stimmins is trying, and he is running some experiments, and I'm not sure what exactly he's up to, right? So the others also don't know. So I think I'll have to wait and see what this guy is up to. Regarding the wall, do you want to start at the prologue? Do you want to discuss the prologue, like what happened there?
Sure. So, what I want to point out, first of all, is the prologue starts off, and it puts us in the Elder Age, at the height of the Draco Crusades, in the Many Isles. And then the next bit of the prologue puts us approximately 400 years before the Wall, which is approximately 4,500 years ago, the Empty Isles.
Yeah.
Which I think is great. You also, I remember you pointing out about the old names of places and people.
So this is the
Malasa,
type of...
I think it was.
Yeah, this is so interesting. This is what I love, about any world building. When it has this type of so much history behind it, it makes sense that Malas might have been called Isles of Malasa, something like that.
Yes.
And Drift Avali is what? Dark Avalital or something.
Yeah.
So these are really interesting things. Yeah, please go on.
So we have the prologue. We have the Elder Age, which is the fisherman, and he witnesses an event that something's going on which I think it's not much of a spoiler to say it's the fall of the crippled god, because we know part of him fallen Corel.
Yeah.
So that's what created the many isles turning into the empty isles. And then we have Tamal, who is a guy, right? We don't actually know his nationality or his race or whatever. He is controlled by a group of people, and he is in what will later go on to become Corel. And he finds, he has basically just survived, it seems, an attack from the Riders with his group.
Yeah.
And he finds one of the deities that holds watch over Corel, who they know to be the Lady.
Yeah.
And the Lady instructs them all she gives him a basalt box, I think it was, to safekeep, and instructs him to build a great wall on the subcontinent to overlook the sea, so they're safe from rider attacks.
This lady, like her physical description, is it like very similar to the riders themselves? She's pale and extremely tall, and I don't know, there's something odd. For one, I thought it might be like a folklore sail, because she's described sort of like that, with tall and thin and all that. But then there was no mention of too many joints, so it's not folklore. So maybe, this is what, I was thinking maybe it's one of the, similar to the riders themselves, because at some point we see them fighting and one of the riders loses his helmet, and you see the skull is like, the head is actually something very pale skinned person. That's all the rider is basically. So.
And to the prologue later we get Corellery year 4156 since the war, which is year 11 of the Malazan occupation in Bainith, I think. Yep. So, and we get to see one of your favorite characters, Karinel and Bakune. And he's investigating some murders, and he is approached by Ghevan, who is Dren, the Dren being a tribe of Corel before the Corellery, what they called themselves Corellery, came. And he very specifically says there are invaders, and there are invaders, which is one of my favorite quotes in the book.
Yes.
And we actually see that Bakune is fairly competent at his job. He is very diligent. He is very thorough, even in spite of Karinel being rather prejudiced, I guess, against Ghevan because he's a tribal.
Yeah.
And Ghevan seems to insinuate that every murder that has happened so far is blamed on the Malazans, but they've only been here for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? And
he says
Ghevan also... Yes, go on.
No, I'm just saying that Ghevan thinks that, most of the deaths are probably honor killings, right? It's not just the Malazans killing the people here. It's the native people themselves killing their, women and children for, mingling with the Malazans or something.
And he also goes on to suggest that because of, he says, the bruises of the throat, the cuts at the wrists, and he asks Bakune since, how long has it been since the one who protects them from the riders has demanded payment?
Okay, just...
Seems to him.
Sorry.
Yes?
That body they find in the prologue, does it have cuts on the wrist and neck, is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, I don't know whether it's chapter 6 or 7.
Go on.
Yeah, there is this, the festival is going on, where I think the lady is reborn or something, and there are processions of children being taken around. And seeing that procession, I think Bakune has like he has a thought that, these are not just symbolic, these are real things. So in that there are some children who are paraded around wearing white clothes and some red petals thrown on them and some marks on their wrists and necks. So it's like a symbolic sacrifice, but so
Except when it isn't.
it isn't. Yeah. So there are people actually sacrificing. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Moreover, to continue the Bakune storyline, if you recall, I think it's like chapter 4 or something, chapter 5 maybe, that Bakune, well, for one, gets his files stolen, but before that, he has put together a map of all the different killings, which go back decades, tens of decades.
Yeah.
Right? And so anyone they pin it on, like the Malazans or Ibshank later, it's obviously lies, but clearly there's a cover-up going on. And he traces the map of the killings, and they make a triangle which with its base along the shore. So most of the bodies are concentrated around the shore, and they form a triangle with the center of the triangle being the cloister of the lady.
Yeah.
In Baneth. Which, okay. And then a little bit after, he questions a few of the priests about sister, I think, a nun died, at any rate.
Yeah.
And he questions the priest, and then later the abbot confiscates his files, and then Carrion comes along telling that, okay, I didn't actually burn your files. Your files are passed away.
Yeah.
Leave, run away. And then Bakune doesn't do that, and he gets in trouble for it. But
yeah.
At any rate, do you have any theories about this particular?
Is there anything more than that? Because it's obviously the abbot and his minions doing the killings, but or the lady herself is acting through them and demanding these sacrifices. Just to increase her power, maybe, because she's not a nice lady, isn't it?
I wouldn't say so.
She needs all these human sacrifices to keep her powers. So
interesting thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna spoil anything.
Thanks.
So what else can we talk about? So one thing I took particular notice of is you may notice that the Corelry chosen the Storm Guard are all basically volunteers, right? All of them are volunteers, and they have specific, insignia to distinguish themselves. And I think when Relish captures a ship with 3 Storm Guards on it, rather than being captured, they just dive into the sea.
Yeah. I was hoping, they reappear somewhere else or something, that they don't really die and something protects them when they reappear somewhere else. But yeah, I don't think so, right? They do actually drown. They do die. Oh, you're not going to spoil that also.
I'm not going to say anything now. But it is also interesting that because to be part of the Storm Guard used to be an honor. Because I think Quinn talks about this a lot, about how they have less and less able bodies and volunteers.
Yeah.
So they have to rely on levies from Jaston and Stake and stuff. Or they have to buy prisoners from Malazans.
Yeah.
Which is what they do. Let's talk a bit about the Stormwall, shall we?
Sure.
So beyond the obvious function of the Stormwall as it's a wall against the riders.
Yeah.
Do you have anything specific to talk about? From the different things you've seen?
I don't know. It's just a wall protecting them. Though, is there anything more in that? I'm not sure.
I don't know. You tell me. I'm asking you.
It's just a sorceress wall. And, Temal was the first Lord Protector who made sure that this wall was built. And that's it. So it has multiple layers, I believe. So people, the lowest places is where the riders, there is actual contact, and the others are all supportive people at the top. I think I asked you this during Return of the Crimson Guard when Traveler and Eriko left the stone wall. I had some doubt, that there are multiple levels to the wall. So that it turns out to be that way. So I don't know. Is there anything more?
Maybe not.
Sure. Yeah.
Just something to think about. Funny you brought up Eriko, because if you recall, Eriko was, I don't know when I say in communication, but he seemed to...
the Enchantress. He was able to talk to the Enchantress, yeah.
He talked to Stress, and it seems that the lady doesn't particularly like the Enchantress.
Yeah, these two are extremely, they have too much rivalry going on. The Queen of Dreams and this Savior lady. So, I'm not sure. And it's very obvious in one of the scenes where this, I'm not going to try pronouncing that name. the guy who does, Mokra through surgery.
Usu, yeah.
Oh, what do you say that again?
The High Mage.
Right, fine. The Renegade High Mage, yeah. So So yeah, there is some rivalry there, and now we also have the Decembrace cult, which is another new rivalry coming up, thanks to one priestess and the army of reform and all that, right?
Yep.
So we have another Bennett. Nice to see a nicer Bennett this time.
Yeah.
So obviously, but by chapter 7, Bennett is dead actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are we done talking about the stone wall? Because I don't
think so.
have a theory there.
Okay, alright, sure. Let's hear your theories before I talk about Bennett a bit, because I have a few things I want to talk about Bennett.
About Bennett?
Yeah. Well, for one, there is the obvious that the cult of December and the army of reform is primarily comprised by peasants and people that preach non-violence.
Yeah.
Yet these people that preach these things, non-violence, which, are branded as heretics by the worshippers of the lady, because there seems to be
they're refusing the call of going to the wall, isn't it?
It's not just, that's for Ivaner specifically, but not everyone is able-bodied enough to join the wall,
Okay.
So, what I think is interesting is you have a lot of different aspects to the worship of the lady, because obviously the lady's influence doesn't allow mages to draw on their warrants that are like ruse or something.
Yeah.
Right? That's why Usu does what he does. That's why, for instance, the mages, and also, despite this, the Corelli are extremely wary of mages. They have Corlo with like a core of the Tadderall on it and stuff. Despite the fact that he cannot access his warrant without being instantly tagged by the lady and get blown up or something. Or worse. I don't know what happens to them if they actually do get tagged. And despite this, we have the Corelli, who essentially, if you boil what the Corelli are doing down, it's essentially reciprocity. Because the lady protects them from the riders, and they fight the riders and worship in her name, because the riders are obviously trying to, assault the lady, and they have prophecies that should the storm wall fall and the lady die, the whole world is going to be encased in ice, which, sounds very dramatic, but for the Corelli, the whole world is just a continent. I guess if there is no wall to stop the riders, and the riders win eventually because of the influence of magic, they're going to eventually encase the whole continent in ice or some such.
Yeah.
So in a way, what the Corelli are doing is an act of worship and devotion, because they're not fighting the riders because the riders are trying to kill us. That's one of the reasons, obviously, but the other reason is, the lady is the enemy of the riders, and we worship the lady because the lady protects us. It's reciprocity.
So that's not really a theory. So it's like it's a thing. It's because not right. Okay, yeah.
Well, obviously, it's also for self-preservation because the riders will kill them given the chance.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is contrast to that to what the Juralin are doing, killing pilgrims, branding them as heretics and all that. There's a lot of different aspects to this. So what I think is going on is the Corelli and their continent is very monotheistic, right? You have very few and far between foreign gods among like the tribals or the sea folk or the Synod of Stig, for instance.
Yeah.
Right, with Sister Gauche and all of that. That's basically all the non-monotheistic you get. And the Malazans. But the Malazans don't count because they're vampires.
Yeah.
And so they have essentially created a system for 4,000 years that any foreign faith could be a detriment and basically a block, if you will, an obstacle to both worshipping and protecting the lady and protecting their own lands from the riders. So they cannot tolerate any other faith because it's an active danger for their well-being and their continent's well-being.
Yeah.
So in a way, what they're doing is not born necessarily just out of fanaticism and hatred of other religions. It is, but only partially.
Yeah.
And you can see the different aspects of this in the Corelli and the Juralin, or even the Malazans, when you see Usu get approached by the lady, when he opens the guy's heart and he dies, and then the lady starts speaking through him.
Yeah.
Because he is a mage of Mokra, but he's also worshipping a foreign god, and we can't have that here. So that's what I think about the religion of the lady thus far. More so in a reread. And also, obviously, the lady, even, what I'm trying to get at here is, the lady is very tangible. She's present. She's there. She's actively doing things. So it's not like they're just crazy fanatics because that's how it is. She's actively protecting them as far as they're concerned. Now, we have a few ideas, mostly from Greymane, that the riders aren't bad at all, and they just want to talk. And they've tried, but no one will listen.
True, yeah.
But as far as the Corelli are concerned, these guys are just alien beings that are trying to kill us, and this deity is protecting us, so we'll worship her, we'll devote ourselves to her. And in a very twisted way, that is almost noble. Except when it isn't, but, more on that later. Read on. Alright, now that I got my obligatory rant out of the way.
Was it a rant? No. That is a good explanation, yeah.
Would you like to tackle anything else? I think there's a few storylines which we haven't touched on yet.
The main thing, the Malazans this time?
Well, there's also, the Malazans, there's Jheval, the Overlord, there's Kiska Jheval.
Let's just finish Kiska Jheval because I don't know why you are so impressed with these two. So Kiska is in search of Teshran. She almost ends up going into the dead house, and Agela stops her and, somehow sends her off into Shadow Realm along with this guy who the Queen of Dreams, sends her. So it's a Seven Cities native who carries a pair of morning stars with him, and who said he used to be a true believer of Shaik, but no longer, and all that. Yeah, I really can't guess who this is, Lee. Can you? I have no idea who this could be.
And he had a friend that was really good at killing, and he also went away with a woman, and he broke up with that woman. And, I have no idea. Do you?
I have no idea. Oh my god. It's some new guy called Jheval. Let's just leave it at that. Is there a name drop anytime here? It is Leoman, right? I don't know why we have to keep calling him.
We're not going to confirm that it's Leoman, but there is a name drop later, yes.
Okay, I don't want to call him this Jheval name anymore.
Alright, if you want to call him Leoman, you can call him Leoman. I mean, you're probably wrong anyway, but you can call him Leoman if you want.
Sure, yeah. I don't know how many Seven Cities native are,
Alright,
who fit all these things.
Kiska and Leoman, anyway. Alright.
It's so odd to think of that anyway. So they're going in the Shadow Realm and, trying to find Teshran, or trying to find at least the rent in chaos or something. Yeah, by now I know that they almost reached the edge of that region. So I'm not sure. I think we still have to find out, but I think we can keep that for the next episode, isn't it? Because I want you to read up about your favorite character, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah. Alright. So I'm only bringing this up because Mora is surprisingly resistant to shipping these two. And I'm not sure why.
Yeah. One, because, I have to know the name. And two, this guy betrayed Korab, so I don't want him to have anything, happy going on. But I'm slowly warming up. So let me tell you, at least after chapter 5, 6, he's not too bad. But,
and
my first...
And they also found Warren in the Shadow Realm, right? The amnesiac priest, Shadow, who doesn't remember his name, just asks Kiska to give him a name.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he does all that, yeah, true. No, actually, even when the Queen of Dreams was, introducing them, she asks him, what name do you go by now? And then he just says, Jheval. Oh, I don't like that name, okay? So anyway, I'm not shipping them, but I'm not that mad at Leoman anymore. For betraying Korab.
Jheval, of course. Okay,
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, please, what's the next one?
We can also talk about Yul Thief, the overlord of the Mazan forces, of the Renegade Six.
Yeah, oh god, what is wrong with this guy? How can he be the overlord when he's he's batshit crazy, isn't he?
I think it's explained that one guy died, and an Imperial representative came in, he died as well, then a fist got deployed to the position, and she died too. So, Yul is not the top choice. And I think Yul is a great representation of just how fucked the Corelli front is for the Malazans. That this guy constantly has to live looking over his shoulder, waiting for the day that the Empire is going to come for him. Right? It's been 33 years since they landed. Greymane left 10 years ago.
Yes.
And they spent this time blockaded completely, with no way to communicate with the Empire, no way to even deliver missives or taxes or manpower or anything. And everyone hates them.
Yeah.
So they have us, and they also tried their commander for treason.
Who was that?
Greymane was tried by the Moderns for treason, for, consulting with the riders.
Yeah.
So, on that note, Greymane has betrayed basically everyone he's ever stood for. He betrayed the Molassans, he betrayed the Corelry, he betrayed the Guard. The only person he's actually not betrayed yet is Kyle. But,
Kyle.
yeah.
No, but you remember that thing when, Kyle asks him, like, who are chasing you? Like, is it the chosen? What about the Molassans? I thought they were after you. And he says, yeah, them too. And
their banter is wonderful. Like the dialogue they have together is great. Just just a few armed men came along, and it's like, oh, who's hunting you? Them too. And then you lost your blade to that guy, the Black Brigadier, and it's like he runs to the ship, and like 5 other dogs. And then Greymane comes running, and like the entire city's coming after him, and like, what the fuck did your friend do? I think he kicked the guy in the balls. It's great.
I'm just sad that all this banter has come down because of the battle. They're separated now. Greymane and Kyle are no longer together. Right now, the part where I'm reading now. So it's all come down a lot. Yeah, please continue.
So Yul is and Usu, and so the depths of depravity that Usu has reached down to in order to access Warren.
Yeah.
All really represent why Corel is such a fucked up place to try to conquer without telling us why Corel is such a fucked up place to conquer.
Yeah.
You have this guy who's batshit insane, who is putting people in jail because, I don't know, whatever, and if they don't pay, they get sent to the Stormwall. He has a prisoner in the deepest dungeon whom he has in a device of some sort, and he foretells the future of something or whatever, which is, by the way, creepy as hell. I don't know what he is. I don't know what Cheng Him is.
It doesn't.
I don't know what his deal is.
Come up again, is it? Because I thought that
no. It's just another thing that this is Corel is a really bad place to be. You know.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the surgery things this guy does?
You're the doctor here, not me. I have no idea how that works.
No, because you thought it felt very icky, right? You didn't want to read it. Because to me, as long as the guy is not screaming or in pain, it was just okay. Because it was exactly like surgery. There is a retractor, there's an assistant dabbing up the blood. So, I'm sorry.
It's a very fucked up kind of surgery, for sure.
I mean, they did use anesthesia, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Anyhow, I'm not going to touch upon this again because you'll see why.
Oh, there is one. I already came across another one.
Yeah, he does it a lot. It's not just a one-time thing. Whenever he wants to access his warrant, he has to do this.
No, but there was one which was which was a little more fucked up because I think the blue Moranth guy, not blue, the black one. I forgot his name. He comes in and chops off the possessed one's head because she nearly kills him. You don't remember this scene? Yeah, I think this is for next episode.
Yeah, there's more down the line.
Yeah,
he does too. So, what else is there? So, Yul and Usu and who else is there? I don't remember the guy's name. The Black Lance commander.
Oh yeah, even I don't remember his name. Because there are too many B names, so I don't remember.
It's like
Boron or something. I don't know.
It's something like that, yeah. Yeah, Boron, yeah.
Yeah, is it?
So you have all these guys who are stranded, and they've essentially become traitors by proxy because Greymane basically, for all intents and purposes, betrayed them as an empire. He was outlawed. They couldn't leave because of the Maurice blockade, so they stayed behind, and they're in trouble now. And the way the people of Fist deal with them, and the way the lady deals with them, by approaching Usu and possessing his victims, and saying, okay, yeah, that's very cool toys you got there, but come to me and you can use your water on whatever.
Yeah, why does she keep, trying to recruit him? Like, what more does she want from him? I didn't get that, actually. He's not, abandoned her or anything. She wants him to start worshipping him, worshipping her. Or,
yeah.
I don't know. What's the end goal there? Did I interrupt you? Sure. Sorry.
What I was getting at is Corel, I think, shows the depravity that occupation can lead to. Because from what we've seen from other cities like Falar or Seven Cities or Janabakis, we've never seen the Malazans really commit any atrocities. Except for Aaron, I guess, which was like the Tlanim marching in and killing everybody. And even Kiska touches upon this. We've not really seen the Malazans commit any large-scale atrocities during occupations. We see it like after sieges, like in Bale, for instance, but they don't generally extract taxes and like blackmail people and, walk in, steal stuff, don't pay for anything, and act like they own the place. This says, the Malazans are just as imperialist as everyone else, and they're also just as brutal as everyone else, even if they'd like to pretend they're not,
Yeah.
There's even an epigraph, I think, on the start of book 2, about how Kellanved invaded Corel, and the Corelli were stuck between a rock and a hard place where they have to defend against the Riders and against the Malazans, and then Kellanved negotiated a peace where he gets to keep the occupied areas.
Yeah, so empire was made by negotiation, and many people forget that or something.
Well, not just that. It's sort of like he was a cutthroat opportunist, but he also had no long-term plan for Corel because his army couldn't get back. There is a blockade. You're not gonna get out.
Is that the way you see it? I saw it as him being smart and
he's smart.
This is enough for me.
Like,
and because
what are we gonna do for Corel?
If he takes over the wall, he's going to be in charge of defending them from the Riders, right? So he just quietly left the wall to them to take care of all this, all the alien threats, and he'll be happy with the nicer, inland areas.
Yeah. And
there is one tile reading. Do you want to
break it down?
Is there much in that? Because it's not...
I don't remember.
No, just find out that which we already know by that time.
Yeah, the Malazans are coming.
The Malazans are coming on one side and Riders are coming on the other side. And that's it. And the Riders, the tile of the Riders is, ice cold even when it's in the fire.
Yeah.
It was a nice scene, but I don't think we got extra information out of it.
I think what Ian does a lot in his books is show information you already kind of know and understand through different perspectives to recontextualize it. And I think it's pretty cool. I always think it's redundant.
In one
I think
way,
it's pretty cool.
The thing which stood out to me in that scene was that in the maps they mention the Malazan Islands as mythical or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so during the tile reading they actually mentioned that this used to be mythical, but with the coming of somebody, it is no longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there is a house of death inside it. So they're talking about Dead House and Malaz City, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So as you say, it's a nice different perspective on the same information.
Yeah. It really reinforces the notion that they only view the world as their own because there's nothing past the Sea of Storms because no one's gonna go there. The Riders are out there. We're not crazy enough to go try. So, which brings us back to my favorite subject to talk about, which is the Empire. And do you want to touch upon the Empire at all and how we have a new guy in charge? Yeah.
So that was really you have to give Malik Rel his due.
I have a lot of opinions on this.
I'm sure you
do. Most of them are actually pleasing. You'll see.
Pleasing to whom exactly? Because
you'll see.
Right. So Relish, in spite of him, being with the Wiccans and doing all those other things, he's brought back as Fist. Greymane, after multiple betrayals of multiple different people, he's brought back as the overall High Fist. So, and Admiral Nock is back. Him and Greymane are now leading the forces with the Relish and this other guy who is never seen on the page. Shul or something. Right?
Hemet Shul, yes.
Yeah. Why do you even remember his name? Does he even come up again?
I don't think so.
So, all these guys... you should appreciate Malik Rel for putting together this nice army along with the Blue Moranth. In this time, it is not exactly like an alliance. They're not allied. It is just a contract. Blue Moranth are there to break the Murray's blockade, and that's it. And they are ready to do that, no matter what it costs them. So, yes. So that is my opinion that the Emperor is doing a good job. But exactly why is he going there? Why is he trying to take Corel? I have no idea.
So I don't think he's trying to take Corel. I think he's just trying to deal with the Malazan deserters there. The Malazan 6th. Now, why are they doing this? I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know. I legit don't know.
Right, okay.
I want to mention too that he also has Devileth.
Yes.
Who is Maurice and was in the pit during the King's reign.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to bring up is Captain Pelishar.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, I forgot.
if you don't remember, in the Bonehunters, now this is a mild spoiler for the Bonehunters, but whatever. There are Perry ships in Malaz Harbor, and First Sword Grimola Dome asks Tabor what they're doing, and Tabor responds, "They're just barbarians." And Kalam thinks at the time, like, yeah, barbarians selling the finest ships in the whole damn ocean. Yeah. And I think that's really interesting because the Perish were essentially unknown to the Malazans. They were virtually enemies of the Malazans because, well, Tabor's army was disgruntled. And here you have, 2.5 years later or so, a Perish aspirant of the World of War in the Malazan army as captain.
Yeah. So
You
credit
also
goes
have,
to?
yes?
So credit
What?
goes to the Emperor, isn't it?
Yes. Begrudgingly, but yes.
Yes.
There's also, Rilish, who is basically a traitor to the Empire because he sided with the Wiccans during the unrest, and he never really got restituted because, but he fucked off and left with his wife. And along comes Peles, who is, again, Perish, to talk to him. There is the aforementioned Devaleth, who is Maurice. There is Greymane, who tried to live in obscurity and open up his own dueling school, betrayed the Empire twice, both in the Corellar campaign and by joining the Guard. There is Kyle, who is a bit of a random guy. There's Nock, who never actually left Imperial service. I think during the turn of the Crimson Guard, he was in 7 cities, holding down the area. So, Nock doesn't really count, but Malik has at least kept Nock loyally.
Yeah.
And most of all, what I think is quite impressive is that he does all of this without. And this is one thing I noticed about Malik in this particular reread of Stonewielder and our discussion on Return of the Crimson Guard. This is a bit of a personal opinion, but I think Malik the Gistel, if he was Emperor, the Empire would get destroyed in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Tabor brings this up in the Bonehunters. Lassine brings this up in Knight of Knives about how champions and gods are vulnerable and expensive.
Yeah.
And when Mael ditches him in Return of the Crimson Guard, instead of being pissed and angry about it, well, he is at first, and he just thinks, I should be patient. I should think about this. What does this mean for me? And to give, again, credit to Malik, he learns from his enemies. He learned from Tabor about the Perish. He learned from Tabor about having a god on how the Malazan Empire always refused an internal patron because they are bad for well-being of the Empire. Look what happened with Dassam, he's sworn to Hood, he lost a daughter, and he died. Congratulations. Nice. He is also the exact opposite of sentimental, if that's a thing. He goes on to hide traitors and people who have been condemned by the Empire as betrayers. He put aside his grudge with the Wiccans, even if that grudge is not technically necessary to have in the first place. But it doesn't matter. The point is he put it aside because he is no longer the Malik Rel Gistel. He is now Malik Rel merciful words.
Yeah.
And that's important, because that is a good emperor. The Gistel will not make for a good emperor. This does. And so he also goes on to tie up loose ends in Corel, to destroy the Maurice blockade, destroy the rebels, to make sure that they're not going to get invaded for some reason if he tries to do anything else. Basically just cut off loose ends, anything that is an economic drain, anything that costs the Empire more than the Empire gains. And Corel is definitely in that ballpark. And he does this in his first year. He was Emperor less than a year ago, and he's already doing all of this. So, as much as it pains me to say it, credit goes where credit is due, and Malik deserves credit. I still fucking hate him, though. In case anyone wonders, I still really don't like the bastard, but at the very least, he's actually doing fairly well. And the nobles of the Malazan Empire show us this without saying, it's 10 years later, and Malik's a really good emperor now. By the way.
So we are being shown, about his competence.
And I think that's quite good.
So I enjoyed it. But after you listed out all these guys, I'm just wondering, won't one of them betray any of the others? Because all of these are, people who were not exactly on board from the get-go, isn't it?
I think every single one of them basically feels like they betrayed each other. I think every single one of them feels like they're traitors. Relish feels like he betrayed Greymane, so he has which, let's be fair, he didn't, but he feels that way. And so he feels...
Has Greymane forgotten Relish? Does he remember that this guy used to give evidence against him?
He certainly acts like it. Well, he didn't give evidence against him, he just stayed silent.
Right.
Because
Okay.
Greymane was put in a show trial, and it's like, okay, yeah, you're gonna get deposed, and Willis didn't say anything, even though he could have. And Willis feels really bad about it, and Greymane seems to lather it on, like, yeah, you betrayed me, and now I'm gonna be an asshole to you. So that's one. The other is Devileth, who feels like she's a traitor to her people, but she feels like the lady needs to be stopped. So she also has the reason to stay on board. There's Greymane, who has his own reasons to stay on board, but you'll see why.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle is staying on board because Greymane is staying on board. Nock is just there for the Empire because the Empire said so. And the Morans are there because of the contract. So everyone is caught in a web, basically weaved by Malik's creation, to stay loyal to the mission because, well, their honor.
Yeah.
Which, again, is really good, but it's also a really big dick move because it's manipulation of these people. But, an emperor must do what an emperor must do.
I guess, yes. Okay, is there anything more?
Well, we haven't talked about Blues and Shell and Fingers and Lazar.
Do they show up as early as this?
Yes. They fight off some Jack, I think.
Yeah,
and talk to the Jack.
You know what? I totally neglected that even when I read Midnight Heights recently. That's when I realized that these Jack have like names and all that. I completely...
They're soul taken, not like beasts.
No, but I just skimmed over the whole thing during my first time. Because I didn't care about them. I just wanted to read about Tehol and Bug and all that. So only this time I realized that, they have names and all that. And it was nice to see some more Jack this time. And, they are proper complicated society, isn't it?
Like, by the way, we have Jack in Corel, we have Doblakai in Corel, we have
exactly, yeah.
Felakai in Corel. We have a lot of people here.
How is that? And they claim all these ice fields is ours, the Doblakai say it is ours. We know that some jagged has to be there somewhere because there are too many, it's too big of an ice field. And I think the Synod also sees in their vision that this was all created in Omtos or something. I'm not sure. And obviously the Jack are roaming around saying that this is our ice fields and our all these animals are, accounted for by us and you guys can't just hunt and eat our animals.
No, do you remember what the Jack sense before they see the guard?
What do they sense?
Yes. If you don't, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to say anything. If you want, you can go look back to the scene and see. It's chapter 3. I'm just going to paste what I'm looking for. This bit.
Okay, they think they are the Forkul or something.
Yes, that is a bit before the scene I'm talking about.
I have no idea what you want me to see.
They sense something before they, the elder of the Jack would notice some whispers of something before they find the guardsman.
Oh, the land says something. What does the land say? Who is their old enemy? I have no idea. Oh! Why is there some talk about Telan here?
I don't know. Anyway, that's what I wanted to point out about Shell and Blue. So, obviously, the
you just wanted me to note down that this Ima's things are name drop here because they talk about Logros, Crone, and all that.
Well, yeah, the Jack obviously know the Elders, and they also know the Jaghood, and they know the Forkrull, so clearly a lot of peoples have come from the Colorado ice fields and stuff. But that's the first appearance. They fight a bit because one of the Jack tries to stab another one, and then Blues kills it, and they heal the Jack, and they're whatever. So that's the first appearance. And a bit later, they find the Sea Folk, I think. Orzu and Emma?
Enna or something.
Enna, yeah.
Oh, that was really nice. The way the Sea Folk, they escape from the lady by pretending to be too stupid to understand what exactly they mean and all that. Mm-hmm. They don't mind, they just slip under the radar of all this, the Chosen and all that, isn't it? That was very interesting to see.
They also have later scenes in chapter 6 and 7, right? So do you want to talk about them?
They do. That's why I can't tell. I'm trying not to bring that up.
Oh, please do. I mean, I don't mind. I've read the book. I know what happens.
Yeah, but still, if you have read it recently, it will be more interesting to see, because, I don't know, I might have missed out stuff. All I can tell you is, the thing which impressed me the most is Shell. Shell is pretty amazing here.
Yeah, sounds great.
When she's, taken to the stone wall and all that. And I think Quint is trying to see whether she's fit for the wall and all. She headbutts him, she breaks his nose and he gets sent to the wall. Because they initially think maybe she can go to the brothel or something. And
yeah, I remember that, but yeah.
yeah, and then they meet Fingers is next in line. He's extremely, he's sick, he's seasick and he's got a cold and all that. And as soon as he sees, Quinn sees Fingers, he says, even I don't want to go to the brothel. And then he gets an autotether bracelet for that.
Yeah, I mean, the level of banter and how nonchalantly the guardsmen approach the wall compared to how like Bars is dealing with it is like it's poignant, but it's also hilarious.
Yeah, but like the way the Marines are there in the Book of the Fallen, the way their banter is there and all that, I really enjoy the guardsmen here in Esslemont books.
Yes,
isn't it? They're much very few guardsmen that we actually follow compared to the Marines, because each book has like a dozen new Marines, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So the one more thing I want to touch upon is we know of one character, and Traveler, but we know of one character in the Book of the Fallen that has stood the wall and that's fired on sword. If you remember her.
Yeah.
She was a deserter of the wall, and now we see why.
Oh, she's a deserter, isn't it? Right. Wasn't Ruthen Good also a deserter or something?
Ruthen, I think Greymane mentions Ruthen in this book, if you remember.
Like he would have made a good champion, but
I don't think Ruthen ever stood the wall. I think he was a member of Greymane's expeditionary force, sort of like how Kyle is now.
Okay.
And Greymane thinks about him in this book, and he told him leave and just don't show up again or something. Keep your head down and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So, it's not like Greymane is just a traitor. He's also a pretty big sweetheart sometimes.
Greymane is a sweetheart. I mean, who... I've never doubted that. Right. I think are we rambling too much?
It's a big book,
Yeah, I felt like nothing much happened in these 5 chapters, and we have... I think there is at least a few things which you have not touched upon at all.
I think it's mostly the army reform and Evander, but I think I'll wait because you said Benneth died, and that's pretty important. I should probably read that first. Yeah,
I mean, it's an interesting thing because you're shipping Kiska and this Jheval guy, but I'd rather ship. Do you say Ivan?
Yeah, sure.
Or what's the R for? I have no idea.
I don't know either. I call him Evander, but it's just that it sounds redundant.
You call him how?
Evander. That are at the end is very unnatural.
Yeah,
I think it's calling me Ivan works better.
I don't care. Yeah, something because him and the Black Queen. Yeah, I would rather ship those two.
Yeah.
Because I just finished a nice battle scene with them, so I think we have lots of stuff for the next recording.
Oh yeah, I mean it is a big book. We're basically
but it doesn't feel like it because it's just going so fast. Just like all the storylines keep coming up in rotation. It's nothing like this storyline was brought up like 5 chapters ago and then I forget about it. It's not like that. Everything comes up fairly regularly.
Yep.
If you don't have more, do you want to stop here?
I was going to ask you. So, do you have anything more, in terms of theories or any predictions for the future? You said Bars was going to die. You said Greymane was going to die. Who else?
And Relish also.
Oh, and Relish. Or Talia.
Or Talia. One of them, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, these are my... but then I was thinking about the lady and all that because I thought the lady is like somebody who escaped the riders and, But then you tell me that it's not, it's hardly a theory, it's like, just a given. So
what is that?
Well, that she came from the riders and, she's hiding from them. Because that's not the way the prologue is set up, isn't it? The prologue makes it seem as if she came there out of her own goodness and is trying to save them and all that.
I think Greymane mentioned it at some point about the riders simply wanting to go to their they talk about it with Kyle in the prologue or the first chapter. Mm-hmm. How the riders basically just want to go to their and the wall is in the way.
No, I think it's mentioned even in Night of Knives where they think that we are just in the way and
Yeah, it's just like why are you killing us? But there is more to the riders than just they're mindless alien creatures that attack people who cross their waters because death.
There's a scene where once Hiem is fighting them and one of the riders goes down and he actually raises a spear in salute or
His
something.
lance, yeah.
Yeah, and then he thinks that, he's just, imagining it. How can these fellows be so honorable as to salute somebody and all that?
Now that you mentioned it, I think Nog saluted the enemy captain, like he was going to ram something, and then he turned, and then like they're going right next to each other, and then there's a scene where Nog salutes the guy, and just this is the shit I live for. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
these things, Esslemont does excellently, and I don't know. I have to tell you again, but naval warfare. I've really not read much about this type of warfare, and it was really interesting to see, with ships and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It was very new for me.
So with that, I think it's about time we close out the episode.
Yes.
If you don't have any more theories, you think a few people are going to die, and that's it. That's all your theories for the future.
I told you my theory, but then you said, that it's hardly a theory; it's already fact. So
I just confirmed it. I didn't say, yeah.
You sent me a huge RAFO, LOL, and all that. It's fine. It's fine.
Hang on, what did you ask? Because I remember you asking, but I don't remember what exactly you asked about.
I said something like, they have it wrong. That the riders are not trying to attack them. They're just trying to take back whatever the lady has given them for safekeeping.
It's not that they want to take it back. It's that Greymane says that the wall is in the way. And yeah. And so we've seen this. Like the riders basically having collateral effects with the fishermen, for example, in Night of Knives.
Yeah. They just bring the cold in spite of themselves.
Yeah, or like Ren's Dream in the prologue, which is just like, okay, this is a ship, and the riders are passing by, and the ship freezes. They're not doing it on purpose. It's just, you're on the way, and they have,
So, you wouldn't blame the riders, isn't it, for the cold? No. So, why would you blame Erastus for everything he does at midnight times?
Okay, alright. We're not talking about this. Look, you got me to admit I don't hate Malik as much in this book. I am not admitting I hate Erastus less in this book as well.
I think Erastus can wait for deeper skill, because I have a feeling my opinion will change there. Because, I really don't know why we have to hate him in Midnight Times. He seems fine.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Totally.
He seems...
he just kills Brisbane because it tickled him purple, apparently.
No. Okay, yeah. We'll do another Erastus episode sometime.
So, with all of that out of the way, until next time when I actually finish the book.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Thank you, Mora, for sticking by despite difficulties.
No. Thank you, Lee. Thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we'll finish the book and, have plenty more to discuss.
I mean, I think so. Right. Have a good day, night, rest of your day, and take care. Until next time. I was Lee. This has been Mora. And we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.